All right, what's up, everybody? I had gone live for a moment, but then I remembered that if I go live on StreamYard, they record it for me and then I can chop it up, and I really like that. So if you haven't checked out StreamYard, I like it a lot. Usually I can go live here, Facebook, Instagram, everything all at once, and I really like that too. But, anyways, that's not what we're here for. We're here. I titled this Why I Can't Be Stopped. And I must say, I'm pretty hyped up right now. It's Saturday. It's August 8th. I'll get to that in a moment. But we worked the market, Lara and I, my friend. And then after the market, we came home and put in like an hour's worth of a hardcore workout outside in the rain, humid, drenched in sweat. And we fucking got it in. And I got to tell you, I love that stuff. Before I move on, though, I want to say that today is August 8th, and every year, the 8-8 portal, it's real, okay? Lots of things are happening in the sky all of the time, in the environment, in the ether, in the plasma that resides within the ether. There's so much happening, but the month of August is a hot month for a lot of us. And heat is life. Heat is energy. Heat accelerates things. And this 8-8 portal, it's a great time. Those things that you're working on, it's a great time to channel some energy into there. Today is a great day to write. And the next 3 days, and really every day, but today is just more charged up than most. But no worries, regardless of when you're watching this video, there are more days to come. And my theme song that I chose for myself this year is Can't Be Touched by Roy Jones Jr. And that's a great song, and I've listened to it almost every day. Roy Jones Jr. is also from Pensacola, Florida, and I grew up right there in between Pensacola and Destin. And it's just a hardcore song. He's a hardcore dude. He was a rapper, a boxer, a kick-ass boxer. And I've been playing that song almost every day this year. And it's got me pumped up. I've finally listened. Something I have realized is that 90% of people are not who they say they are. 90% of people are also miserable. All right. We walk around dimming our own light, lowering our own energy, not expressing ourselves authentically because we care about what other people think. We are not living authentically, being true to who we are because we care about what other people think. And these people who we care about what they think, they don't even like themselves most of the time. They're full of shit. All right. We live in it's one of the strangest times I think to live in because we have access to so much information, but it's also information overload. We're just in this echo chamber where we have all these gurus and these influencers and these people who just have the answer, right? When most of these people don't have shit. All right. Only you have the answers within you that you are looking for. And we have become so disempowered that we don't even want to recognize that, because when you recognize that you have the power within you to find the answers in which you seek, that puts responsibility onto your shoulders. That means you have to hold yourself accountable for where you are in life, and you have to take up the responsibility to get to where you want to be. And we're so inflamed, so tired, so exhausted, and so confused, and honestly pretty dizzy, that makes it challenging to do. And we, again, that echo chamber, we're just listening to all of these people that we think know something that we don't, when most of them are just really good at regurgitating shit, right? They're really good at packaging things up in pretty words and presenting them to you in whatever way is most popular these days, whatever way is in the most alignment these days. And it makes me want to vomit. But finally realizing this has helped me a lot. It's crazy because I literally, especially in this first world that we live in, had to fight and claw and work my way out of some shit that most people can't even fucking fathom. All right. Some dark, sick, twisted shit. And that makes me a warrior. And it hit me like, oh my gosh, I'm a fucking warrior. And I'm all in my head, all anxiety and full of angst because of what some basic wannabe guru, whatever the fuck, whoever thinks of me. And so I'm entering this phase of my life right now where, I tend to be kind of an extremist. So I've been really kind, really nice, really concerned about the world and everybody in it and trying to help. And I'm just going to go ahead and swing over to the other side for a little bit. And I know I'll find my way to the middle, to that healthy medium, but it's important. And I'm just kind of in this place where now I don't feel sorry for anybody. I don't care where you were born. I don't care what you were born with. I don't care who you are, what color you are, what background you come from. I do not care, because we all have the same heartbeat. Now, not really, right? Some people are born with some pretty, but even people that are born with no arms and no legs still find a way to have a fulfilling life. Those people are out there, So if you're able to walk, talk, breathe, and actually use your hands, you, with enough determination and perseverance, can get out of where you are. Even like that book Shantaram, that man that broke out of prison, there are people stuck in cells right now. And if you're not in there, then you have so much potential and so much opportunity to create something with your life. And I feel sorry for nobody anymore. Thanks for coming to my little rant. You guys, I just felt like I should get on here. I've been resistant to coming on here and speaking, and I'm really feeling myself right now. And that is something I want to touch on. Feeling yourself, loving yourself. I am creating this new program, whatever you want to call it, the Path to Liberation. And one of the most important things that is required of us to liberate ourselves from these slave systems is we have to love ourselves. And when I say love ourselves, I mean that in such a profound way, in a more complex way than we might think. How we love ourselves, that is a commitment. We make a commitment to loving ourselves. And we love ourselves by the way that we feed ourselves, by the way that we talk to ourselves, by the thoughts. So we can't always control what thoughts come into our mind, but we can control which thoughts we dwell on and which thoughts that we feed energy to. And that's important to remember. The way that we allow people to treat us, all of these are things that add to our foundation of self-love. That is our foundation, the way that we love ourselves. And I know for me personally, again, I was born into a den of demons, just sick, twisted men and women that did sick, twisted things. They did not love themselves, and they definitely did not love me. And not only did they not love themselves or me, but they took a lot of their pain and anger and trauma and all their shit out on me. And I've had to work through a devastating amount of shame, right? It almost suffocated me. It almost took me out. And I had to work through that. And so I didn't always know how to love myself. Like, what does that mean? What does that look like? What is love? And then whenever I would like receive it, I'd be like, that is weird. Like, unless you're calling me names or hitting me, I am uncomfortable. And that's the reality of the life that I came out of. I was told, like, my one of my stepfathers would abuse me and tell me it was because he loved me. And so coming up like that as a child, I learned that that's what love looks like, right? But thankfully, God took me out of that environment eventually and put me by myself. And I got to start, because I wanted to grow, because I had that love, that light in my heart, something. I don't know. I was blessed with something that allowed me to seek, to search, to allowed me to recognize that the way that things are not right, and not the way that things have to be either. And so what I'm suggesting is, if you don't know where to start, where I started was the way that I feed myself. I started to learn about how the human body worked and what it needed to function optimally. And oh, we've got somebody in here. Yep. So many people who are influencers act like they're absolutely certain on what they're talking about. Most of the time, those are the people who usually don't. That's true, Jen. And it almost, and this echo chamber is making it challenging for real people, real authentic people to want to speak up. Even myself, like, I'm uncomfortable because I don't want to reflect that back. I want to make sure that the words that I choose, the way that I speak to people, is to empower them. I don't want them to think that I have the answers for them. I would rather just help them to find the answers within themselves. And I do that by sharing my story, which is something I want to touch on. So I hope I don't forget. But where was I going? Okay, I am going to touch on that in a moment. But the self-love, and actually it can tie in really well to the self-love aspect. But anyways, if you don't know where to start when it comes to learning how to love yourself, just cook yourself some vegetables. Drink a glass of water, put some salt in that water. I really need to put some salt in this water. I sweat an absurd amount today. Put some salt inside your water. But So as I have gotten older, something that I am often told when I share my story, when I talk about the place that I came from, people will tell me, they'll say, stop identifying with your story. Stop talking about your story. Don't identify with that. You're attached to that. And I, ask people, I'm like, if I was a paraplegic, if I had no arms and no legs, and I was telling you about the accident that occurred and how I have rebuilt my life since then, would you tell me to stop identifying with that story? No, no, most people wouldn't. But they do that with those of us who have experienced severe trauma. Don't talk about it. And there's two sides to that. On one hand, I am 100% against using it as hold on, we have to put ourselves and our peace of mind first. Yes, Jim, but like, how do we do that, right? So many of us were born and bred into this, these slave systems where we're inflamed and anxious all the time, and we're told to serve other people first. That's a good point, but let me get back to this. Thank you for being here. On one hand, yes, I am absolutely against using our stories as to be victims. Oh, I can't do this because this happened, or I can't. I remember my mother never cooked growing up, and at all. Like, I had to fend for myself to eat. And when I got older, she said it was because she cooked once, and my stepdad told her that it was awful, so she decided to never cook again. Didn't feed her children because some man said that she couldn't cook well. It's just weird. So these stories, I'm sure it hurt her feelings when he said that, but then she chose to absorb that, to identify with that, to dwell on that, and then not feed her children because of that story that she had, which is wild. So but using your story, like for me, the foundation that I stand on, the authority that I walk and talk with comes from the life that I lived, comes from that sick, weird, twisted shit that I had to not only endure, but overcome, fight through. And I did that. So my story is so much a part of who I am today. And I am proud of that, in the sense that I don't resist that. I don't reject that. I don't, like, it is what it is. That's who I was. That's where I came from. That's what I had to go through. And here's what I did. And here I am now. And I really love my life now. I'm surrounded by great people. I get to do what I love every day. I get to reach and touch the lives of so many people. If I don't want to work, I don't have to. I love to work, so I do. And I don't know that I would have got here if I didn't endure all of that. I have told people before, and they think I'm crazy, but if I had to go back and experience everything that I experienced coming up again to be where I am today, I would do it. Because in this life, pain is one of the strongest, if not I think in this realm, pain might be the strongest thing in this realm that we live in. Don't get me wrong, love is very powerful, but so is pain in this realm. And when you choose to take that pain and transmute it and allow it to fuel you, you are unfucking stoppable. Do you understand? If you choose to allow that pain to tear you up and eat you from the inside out and disable you, okay, you're weak. Lay down, sit down. Let's see. Our story is who we are. Jen said, we deserve to use our energy on ourselves first. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, Jen. And that is where I am these days. And it feels so great. So much so that so I do farmers markets, and I always bring a bunch of change. So people will come to me when they need change. And I'm to the point where, like, listen, you want me to break your 20, I'm keeping 10%. And of that, otherwise you can go find it somewhere else, because I had to think ahead. I had to go to the bank. I had to stand in line to get the change to make sure I had what I needed while I'm here. It's not, I'm not feeling bad that you are not responsible enough to make sure that you have change. And that I'm really viewing even like homeless people, especially here in St. Augustine, the homeless people are pretty privileged. I remember one time a restaurant put bagels out for them out back of their restaurant, and they knocked on the door to ask for cream cheese, because they were upset that the restaurant didn't leave them cream cheese for their bagels. And I was just like, and I used to work with the homeless a lot, and they didn't want the food. They wanted money. And I really realized these people are homeless because they choose to be. All right. We are where we are because of the choices that we make. Bottom line. Yes, sometimes things happen that we don't have control of. It's a sick world that we live in and terrible things happen, but we still get to choose what we are going to do with what happened. I love that you're here, Jen. Thank you. And everybody else tuning in. I'm here to talk with you. Um, yeah, I really cannot stand a victim mentality, and there are a lot of people who look at people, and you know what? I am guilty of this, especially coming up when I would see people who had money or who had parents that paid for things for them, or even now, I found myself the other day, I see women my age that are disabled. They have Lyme's disease or they have some autoimmune disorder, so they can't work and they're asking people for money to pay their bills. And I cannot fathom that, because through my 20s, when I had Crohn's, when I had endometriosis, when I had all of these terrible consequences from that life that I was born into, nobody was here to help me. Okay. If I did not go to work, I did not eat, my bills did not get paid. And sometimes I'll find myself like, oh man, you don't have to work. Like, people, mommy and daddy just pay your bills. That's crazy. And I'll find myself feeling a little animosity or even resentment. But it really hit me one day, like, the big difference between me and them is they are so dependent, and they're dependent on everything and everyone outside of themselves for their own survival, whereas I am not. You could drop me off in the middle of anywhere, all right? And as long as there's not a group of people all chopping my head off, like, I will not only survive, but at some point I will start to thrive, because I know what it takes to go out there and get it. I know what it takes to have nothing and nobody on your side and everything on you, and having to do the work, having to get up when you don't want to get up, having to do the work when you don't want to do the work. And because of that, because I've done that for so many years, I'm also starting to reap the benefits. Sometimes it takes longer for some than others, but it will happen. When you make a decision to liberate yourself from these slave systems, when you make a decision to liberate yourself from sickness, from pain, from fear, and you start doing the work necessary to do so, it's not easy to do it. It's not easy to liberate yourself. And then you still have to do the work to maintain that liberation. But when you do it, the rewards, that freedom, that peace. That peace. I'm still working on peace, but I'm really, really getting there. But I know that no matter what, no matter who says what, who does what this world throws at me, it might hurt. I might stumble. I might fall. I might bitch a little bit. But one thing I'll never do is lay down and take it. I will always be okay, because I can count on me to get up and do the things that I need to do, no matter how I'm feeling. And it's mind over matter. You don't think it was hard to put myself through college, working 4 jobs, healing from Crohn's, healing from endometriosis, unpacking all of this crazy ass trauma that I had brought into my 20s from my childhood. It was so hard, but I did it. I was determined. Let's see. Jen said, I was homeless for a while in my younger days, and you're absolutely right. I've seen many entitled homeless people. Yep. Homelessness is a choice. Don't get me wrong. There are people out there that are really mentally ill, and we don't have enough facilities and institutions and resources for these people. But a lot of these people out there, it's a choice. They could get their shit together. But that is why, like, to be successful, it's really not too challenging, because the majority of people are too lazy to do what they need to do to get to where they want to be. That's why, like, at almost any job I get, I want some oil on my face. Almost any job that I get, I climbed the ladder so quickly. I've worked for myself for the last 6 years. It's been a long time, but every job I get, I would just climb the ladder so quickly. I'd become a star employee, because all you have to do is show up with some enthusiasm and even just a little bit of competency and do your job, do it to the best of your ability, and you excel, because most people are lazy, dumb, dehydrated. And I'm sure that sounds mean, but it's just the truth. The truth hurts sometimes. That's why I know I'm destined for greatness. And that's really, like, that has been revitalized inside of me recently. I've been processing a lot. Last year was a tough year. And then this year I've just been kind of processing it. And I just feel everything coming back, because life is like this too, you know. It is for everybody. But I have known, like, I used to have high highs and low lows, manic depressive. And over the years, I've learned what causes that. Because remember, what goes up must come down. And while these high manic days can be fun, you know that they're coming back down. But now when I'm down here, I know that I'm going to be back up here. And what I've trained myself to do is when I'm riding high, when I'm feeling good, I have habits and routines put in place to care for my mind, my body, and my spirit. So now the lows aren't so low because I don't eat inflammatory food. I don't surround myself with soul-sucking people. I don't consume content that messes with me mentally, physically, and spiritually. I see Jen said, yes, I used to have animosity at times towards those types of people who don't have to pay their way. But as I got older, I realized I'm glad I've never been that way. Yeah, because at the end of the day, these people who have everything provided for them, if things were to hit the fan and they were dependent on themselves and how to survive, they're handicapped. So there is, I think I heard it on Joe Rogan years ago. It's called affluenza. And it's like the flu. It's a sickness. It's a disability that you get from coming from too much affluence. When people have everything handed to them, when they don't have to figure things out on their own, they don't have to exercise their brain doesn't grow. They don't develop any skills. They are disabled. Affluenza. So there are some days where, because it's hard, Jen, that I am just like, would be nice if someone could come save the day from me, but it's okay. Because one thing that is for certain is that I wear my own cape. I am my own hero. I show up for myself and do what I have to do for me. And I always will. And that kind of circles back to the foundation of self-love. When you tell yourself you're going to do something, do it. Every time you do something you tell yourself you are going to do, you show to yourself that you're here for you, that you love you, that you care for you. Every time that you don't do something that you say you are going to do, you are telling yourself subconsciously, and it impacts us. We might not recognize it right away, but it impacts us on a really deep level when we don't do what we say we are going to do. We are telling ourselves we can't trust ourselves, that we don't care about ourselves enough to do what we said we were going to do. And if we cannot trust ourselves, who can we trust? Right? Who can we trust? I'm really glad that I came on here to talk these things through, because I'm working on kind of like this pyramid, right, of liberation. And self-love is at the bottom, but self-love is vague. There's all these different definitions of it, but that is one of the most important things. Okay, so sure, maybe if you don't know how to love yourself, feed yourself some fruits and vegetables, drink some water. That's great, because that nourishes your body. This body is what houses you. All right. At the end of the day, this is all we've got. We could lose everything, but if we have this and it functions well, then we have potential to rebuild. And then doing what you say you're going to do, and be realistic about it. Okay. Start off small, especially if you're in a place where maybe you haven't shown up for yourself. Maybe you haven't been very disciplined. Maybe you haven't put in the work. I'm going to journal for 5 minutes a day. And no matter what, you set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes every day and you journal. And when I tell you, journaling is so underrated, it is one of the most powerful practices that we have. Everything that I have in my life today, I wrote it down. And I wrote it down consistently. Some things take time. I wrote what I wanted in a relationship for over a year, and I got exactly what I wanted. So also remember with that to be crystal clear, because there are things that I didn't write. So be crystal clear, because it does work. So, all right. And then when you show up every day and you write for those 5 minutes every day, then you are telling yourself, look, I'm doing what I said I'm going to do. Or, okay, I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk every day. Go for that walk. And every time you do that, you are subconsciously and energetically building a really good rapport with yourself. You are showing yourself that you are doing what you said you were going to do. Let's see. Jen said, yes. Then I feel guilty about not doing what I said I was going to do and beat myself up about it for too long. So that's a great point. that how we talk to ourselves is so important. We are not perfect, but if you really feel that remorse, right? If you truly feel that remorse for not doing what you said you were going to do, my suggestion is to say, okay, I fell short today. I didn't do what I said I was going to do, but tomorrow's a new day. And remember, like, how would we talk to children? Most of us wouldn't tell that children, oh, you're a failure. We wouldn't keep telling that child what a mistake that they made and how da da da. And we have to remember to talk to ourselves like that. Within every single one of us is a child. And most of us have the problems that we have due to things that happened as we were children. So we kind of have to reparent ourselves in a way, because we are responsible for us. No matter how great or bad our parents were, it doesn't matter. At some point in all of our lives, it is up to us. I have every excuse in the book to be a shitty person because of what my parents did, but it's not their responsibility anymore. Am I going to spend the rest of my life mad and upset and blaming my parents while wasting my time? Nope. So anyways, just going back, being our own parents, talking to ourselves, giving ourselves grace. Grace is so important. But then the next day, okay, are we going to do it? Jen said, yes, I always tell myself tomorrow will be a better day. Yes. And that's the beautiful thing about life, is like we get opportunities to try again. We get opportunities to start fresh every day. And that's so beautiful. And I have learned with myself, like I have let people walk all over me and make excuses for these people and continue to care for these people. Why don't I do that for myself? And that's what I've started doing. So the same love and forgiveness and compassion that I can extend to other people, I just give it to myself. And now I'm learning to give it to myself first and foremost. Nobody in this world is more important to me than me. There's nobody in this world that I love more than me. And that's very important, because I think one of our problems as a society is a lot of us were born into this society that says you're full of sin, you're dirty, you're wrong, you need to do this, you need to do that. So a lot of people are lacking that self-love, and it's hard to really give true, genuine love out to the world when you don't have it for yourself. I will also say that what helped me to really learn to love myself was other people showing me love. So I got to see, again, you want to seek, right? Seek and ye shall find. Okay, I have put it in my awareness that I want to learn how to love myself. All right. And now when you say that, you will see little hints of it all over the place. Or when somebody else does something kind and loving to you, like, oh, okay, that's what that is. That's what that feels like. And it was really uncomfortable for me at first, but it's gotten so much easier over time. I used to think it was dangerous. Like, oh, this is a trap. As soon as I let my wall down, somebody's going to shank me, because it is a cold world. But so I saw your comment that you're so good. I'm so glad you're here too, Jen. I can feel it. Thank you. How do we talk to ourselves? How do we love and forgiveness? With that being said, okay, so tomorrow's a new day. Do your best to do it. But if too many days go by where you're not doing what you said you were going to do, sure, you can beat yourself up about it. That's not going to help. But realistically, you are programming your subconscious and learning how to not trust yourself. So while also being kind to ourselves, we've got to hold ourselves accountable. We've got to be realistic. I've gone back and forth. I love tobacco, and I've gone back and forth on quitting so many times. And I'll quit for a little bit, and then I'll start again, and then I'll quit for a little bit, and then I'll start again. And I learned to quit guilting myself, because also remember, what we resist persists. So when we focus too much, like, oh, I want to quit smoking. And then I'm beating myself up for not smoking. That makes me smoke more, so over the time, because I've been smoking since I was 8 years old. And that's a long time to be addicted to nicotine. Nicotine is one of the strongest substances. It's crazy. What I stopped doing was guilting myself. I said, okay, if I'm going to smoke, I'm at least going to speak to myself in a kind way while I do it. So I would smoke, and I would say, it's okay. I love me. My lungs are strong. I'm healthy. I exercise. I work out. I've got so many habits, healthy habits, that this isn't taking the toll that I think that it is. I also made sure I was smoking good tobacco, right? So there's always harm reduction. All right, maybe some of us have a sugar addiction and we're working on that, but maybe we went for the more natural form of Oreos than the actual brand Oreos that's loaded with poison. Or maybe we went to the farmer's market and got some sourdough cookies. Like, harm reduction is a great place to start. So it's like, okay, here's the goal. Here I am here. Going here to here just really sets us up for failure. There are little steps along the way. We'll get to a step and we might stay there for a little bit. Sometimes maybe we even fall back, but that's okay, because the next day is another opportunity to get back to that step. So organic tobacco. And then I started rolling my own, and that really helped. It made more of a ritualistic, an added ritual to this habit. And I got to spend time, and I also was smoking hemp instead of so right? And it all worked up to where now I'm done. I don't even want to. It got to the point where my body, I would just smoke and then I'd feel sick for like 30 minutes. And then as soon as I felt better, I'd go and smoke again. And I finally had to ask myself, like, okay, Cameron, are you really a liberated outcast if this little substance has so much control over you? And I was like, oh shit, that's true. No, I am liberated. I won't be shackled up by this tobacco. Jen said, nicotine is hard. I smoked for 20 years, but I quit many years ago. And 2 years ago, I moved to vaping. I think it's better than cigs. If people don't like it, I don't care. I'm okay with it. I will say that the truth is tobacco, organic tobacco, is healthier for you than vaping. But let me tell you why. So first of all, we don't know a lot of the oils that they put in there. So a lot of it's like vegetable oil. But the reason why they call it popcorn lung is every time we hit the vape, it heats up our lungs like an oven. Tobacco doesn't do this, marijuana doesn't do this, but the vaping does. So it literally, and this is sensitive tissue in our lungs, it heats it up. And that heating, it's almost like when you get a burn, you get bubbles. And that's where the popcorn lung came from. On top of that, it is like 10 to 20 times more addictive than tobacco, because that heating aspect makes it the nicotine rapidly absorb into your bloodstream. I actually vaped for a while and switched back to tobacco to quit vaping because, like, most of us, we're not going to smoke tobacco inside of the house. Where the vape, we can smoke it anywhere. I used to be on airplanes, like, and it smells worse. So, like, most people are shocked to find out that I even like tobacco because you can't smell it on me. I always wash my hands. I found I was actually brushing my teeth too much. That's bad for you. She said, Jen said, I try to stay away from chemicals, but I will quit eventually because I hate being dependent on anything. And yes, that's like the big thing that did it for me. I was like, man, I finally, like, I kind of knew, but I finally just sat down with myself and said, Cameron, are you truly liberated? And like I was talking about in the beginning of this video, is we have so many people out there who are not who they say they are. Okay. And authenticity and integrity are core values of mine. And I want to be who I say I am. And am I truly liberated if I like have a panic attack because I don't have nicotine? Can't do it. But it's all a journey, right? Like, I have been who I say I am this entire time because I've been real with myself. I've never hid it. Anytime I'm struggling with something, people know about it. So I never hide it, because when you hide things, it leads to shame, and shame is disgusting, and it ties us down, and it's a virus. It's not even a virus. It's like a cancer in this world, shame, and I'm tired of it. So yeah, there's no point in shaming ourselves, but I really do want to represent liberation as much as I can. And I'm sure there are still things that I've got to work on, that I've got to do. But it feels really good to finally be like, yes, that one is done. And yeah, so you got this. She said, facts. There are so many people who have a good front on acting like someone they aren't. It's driving me nuts. I don't want it to drive me nuts, right? But it makes me sick. It makes me sad, because then these people who aren't, it's like we see so many sick people that are teaching people how to heal. And not only that, but like charging these people a lot of money for these one size fits all protocols, detoxes, yada, yada, yada. And also on the other end, like these people going and trusting these people. We don't know what these people are really like. Sometimes we've never even met these people. Or you go to the doctor and you got some fat guy in a white coat, unhealthy, takes several medications himself, telling you about your body and how to make it better. When they don't know shit, they're sick. We've got sick people going to sick people. That's like Dax, one of my favorite rappers. He says, he doesn't want to go, when it comes to like religion, he doesn't want to go talk to another sinner, go confess his sins to another sinner dressed in a suit who went to some academy that gave him some certificate that says that he's an authority when it comes to God, when oftentimes they got some things in their closet we can't even fucking and but that's where that personal accountability and responsibility comes in too, right? Like, for me, the people that come to me and trust me with their health are people who see me in the real world, who are in my presence, who can look in my eyes and feel my energy and know that I am vital, that I am healthy, that I do the work, and that they know I am who I say I am. So it's, there's no way I could ever truly get that essence out on social media. I can get bits and pieces of it, but man, people trust me because they can feel me, because they know me, because I don't hide anything. You can come to my home. You can come spend time with me. You can come see me. I'm out there, not just behind a screen portraying one thing and then hiding what's happening in real life. And unfortunately, so many of these people are. I'm going to wrap this up soon, but I wanted to, just remember also too, with social media, again, remember 90% of people are not who they say they are, and 90% of people are not happy. People are so miserable, but they slap on this smile and this happy face and they do the act, and then they go home and then they just scroll miserably, comparing themselves to people that they don't even know. And those people are doing the same thing. So we're comparing ourselves to people based off what we see on the surface when we haven't really spent time with these people. We haven't asked any questions. We don't really know. And that blows my mind. And it has just helped me when I get in my head, because I put myself out there a lot online and in the real world. When I get in my head, because one thing unhappy, insecure people don't like is authentic people, confident people. They don't like that. And they'll try to throw blows at you to break that down, to reduce your confidence, try to call your bluff. And while what has helped me through that is just remembering, man, I love my life so much. I've worked so hard to create a life that I love when I get off the screens, whether I'm reading with my dogs, with my friends, whatever, that I can't let these people get to me anymore. I have lost sleep over people who suck, who are miserable, And I won't do that anymore. So I want to encourage all of you, Jen, and anybody else who comes on here. When we get stuck in our head about society or other people, most of these people are not happy. They do not love themselves. They do not like the life that they are living. They're miserable. They're inflamed, and we can pray for them, and if they want help, sure. But the most important thing is to not let that get in our head and dampen our spirits. All right. And remember, miserable, inflamed, insecure people, one of the things they hate the most are people who are vital, happy, and healthy. All right. And confident. So when somebody's coming at you, remember, it has nothing to do with you, baby. And it takes time, but the more you program that into your subconscious, the more it will take roots. And for me, this new chapter that I'm stepping into my life, it has taken roots. I know who I am. I know where I come from. I know what I'm about. And I know what I bring to every single room that I enter. And nobody's insecurities, projections, shortcomings are going to affect me anymore. And it feels really good. I used to just absorb these things and dwell on them and think on them. And, I was so abused and just shamed coming up that everything I did was wrong. So it was not hard to convince me that I was doing something wrong or that I was bad. Not anymore. Not going to let sick, inflamed, miserable people tell me about myself. I'm not going to absorb it. Remember, it's a reflection. It's a reflection. And if we absorb that reflection, and we've got some more work to do, and that's okay. So I don't know if you caught it, Jen, but today is 8/8. The 8-8 portal, every year we get this. It's in August and the season of Leo. And that's a lot of fire. That's a lot of heat. That's a lot of energy. So it's just a really potent day today and 3 days after today. So write today. Write down everything that you want this energy to go into. Write it, write it, write it. Think about it. Really watch your thoughts over the next few days, always. But right now, it's so powerful. It's called the Lionsgate portal. And 8 is infinity. 8 is infinite abundance, prosperity. And then, but for me, it's less about that and more definitely the numbers 8. But the season that we're in, heat is life. Heat accelerates things. Heat fuels things. Heat helps to digest things. Heat is life, and we are in the thick of it. We're in Leo season, and it's August in Florida. All right, and regardless of where you are, August is hot in most places in the United States. So use this energy to call in what you want. Write it, write it, write it. All right. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be sure to do more of this. I love you, Jen, and everybody else who tuned in. And remember, always remember that I see you and I feel you because I am you and I fucking love you. Mwah.